Hello, I'm Steven here for JustMyPicks.com, and I'm bringing you a special NBA Top 10 breakdown of the top 10 players in the NBA right now. This is just a prerequisite. I'm going to throw this out here. Injuries do affect this list, and based off that, I'm always going to let a lot of you Chicago Bulls fans know Derrick Rose will not be on this list. I don't have faith that Derrick Rose will come back and be the same player he was when he left. That explosion, that power, that quickness, having to sit out a whole NBA entire regular season, let alone almost the whole playoffs also, it doesn't cut it where you can just say, oh, he's going to come back and be the best. So I'm just going to let you guys know now, Derrick Rose will not be on this list. But starting off the list at number one, we all know LeBron James, the walking triple-double. He is by far the best player in the NBA. I look at it as LeBron as being the forefront man of the NBA for the next 5 to 7 years. He is in his prime right now. He is playing out of his mind. He is balling. He is the most consistent player we've seen in the NBA in some time. I just feel like LeBron makes his teammates better. LeBron can get his own and also get his teammates involved. And we see him carrying the Miami Heat on his back on offense and on defense each and every night. There's not one player that can shut him down. It's just his shots improve. He's improved in clutch situations. We've seen him win his 4th MVP in 5 years. So he's in a great company with that, along with having D Wade and Chris Bosh. That doesn't hurt either. So you have LeBron James topping out this list at number 2. Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, offensively and defensively, since Russell Westbrook has went down, has picked up his game big time. We've seen a lot of people say that, oh, he can't do this, he can't do that, he's too skinny, he doesn't play enough defense. Well, he's showing us he's almost averaging a triple-double in this series currently against the Memphis Grizzlies. I know that they're down in this series, but it's not Kevin Durant's fault. Kevin Durant has taken his game to a whole nother level. He's reaching and scratching at that LeBron James surface where LeBron got his breakthrough. Kevin Durant is tired of being number 2, and he's showing us why he potentially could give LeBron James a run for his money. Kevin Durant can shoot. He can take you inside on those smaller defenders, take you inside, post you up. And if you're bigger than him, he'll just take you to the outside, shoot your lights out, and drive past you. That's why I'm putting Kevin Durant number 2. Number 3, Chris Paul. Chris Paul, let's face it, is the only solid, consistent threat that the Clippers had the last 2 seasons on offense. Chris Paul is a maestro of a musician that is the Dunk City, Lob City, whatever you want to call it, the Clippers. He is the only player that can get his shot consistently at any point in time on that team. I think he's the sole reason that they made the playoffs as high as they did and won all those games and won the Pacific Division out west. But with that being said, if the Clippers do not improve getting more shooters and better players besides Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan, they're going to be a laughingstock. They'll be known as that team with all that daggone talent, but can't also do what they need to do. Chris Paul, he understands angles. He understands the game. I know a lot of time he flops and does a little crazy stuff, but as a solid point guard who can also score and lead your team, Chris Paul is the 3rd best player in the NBA. Coming in number 4. A lot of people were up in arms about this, but I think that with the injury happening to Russell Westbrook, I can't put him on this list. I want to put him on this list, but at number 4, Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony, for the longest, we've known him to be a scorer. We've known him to be one of the best offensive players that can just go off on you at all time. And he's up there with some of the best like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, but the only thing that gets me down about Carmelo, he doesn't play defense consistently. All day long, you can see Carmelo hustling on offense so he'll get that offensive shot. But on defense, he doesn't give that same effort. So in this big picture, I see Carmelo as a project on defense. I think he's a little bit of a liability on defense. He doesn't move his feet quickly enough to keep up with a lot of these defenders. But on offense, he is one of the best dominant players to ever play the game on offense. Coming in at number 5, I have to give this to Steph Curry. Steph Curry has stepped up in the playoffs and shown us that he's a solid superstar in the making. He's come and he's made shot after shot after shot. I know health concerns are a big concern when I put him on this list because of those ankle injuries, but Steph Curry has shown me he can fight through some of those ankle injuries. He has played well down the stretch against San Antonio. We saw him shoot dagger after dagger after dagger against the Denver Nuggets, and he's really stepped up and shown us that he can be that leader of the Golden Golden State Warriors, and he is a superstar in the making. My only thing with him, his injuries with his ankles. If he can get over that somehow and play consistently and play 82 games or even 65 games a year without those big injuries, I know he can do it, and I know that he deserves to be on this list. Coming in at number 7, James Harden. A lot of people in the NBA need to take notice of James Harden. I know that they lost to the Oklahoma City Thunder. That is no bad thing, because you have to look at it. With Russell Westbrook, Serge Ibaka, Kendrick Perkins and them boys, they have a full squad. The Houston Rockets are a young team that is building. James Harden has a complete set of skill set on offense, defense. I know a lot of people are going to bring up he choked in the NBA Finals, but look at his career as a whole. Look at what he's doing out west. He carried that team, the Houston Rockets, to make the NBA playoffs. And he can shoot the three. He can post up. He can drive past you. He can do all those things. Plus, he's willing to give his body away on defense. He's willing to take the charge. He's willing to go after your best player on offense. We saw him go shot for shot in defensive possession with Kevin Durant. He may not have stopped him every single time, but I don't know anybody who can stop Kevin Durant every single time. But he puts up a great fight, and he also is a leader. Fear the beard. At number 8, I'm looking at Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard, a healthy Dwight Howard. I'm talking about the Defensive Player of the Year Dwight Howard. If he gets rest this offseason and is able to bounce back and really rest that back in that arm, that labrum from that labrum injury, Dwight Howard is the most dominant center in the NBA right now. There's not one player in the NBA that can stop Dwight Howard when he goes in that post and they throw the ball up for that lob dunk. There's not another player in the NBA that can stop him. He's just physically gifted. He's not the traditional back to the basket center, but with learning those moves, if he chooses to stay in LA and gets tutored under the great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or get lessons from Hakeem Olajuwon, some of the greats like that, he can become one of the best centers of all time. I think that he has to mature a little bit. He has to grow up a little bit and take the NBA game a little more serious. But I think the best thing for him to do is to stay in LA and learn under Kobe Bryant to get better. He's a top 10 talent. Coming in at number 10, Paul George. Paul George of the Indiana Pacers has really stepped his game up. Without Danny Granger and a lot of offensive weapons out in Indiana, you have to look at what Paul George is doing. He has the big man of Roy Hibbert. He has David West and a power forward. But that's about it. Those guys are good for about 15 points and 7 rebounds a game. But Paul George, without Danny Granger or a lot of help, has carried the Indiana franchise and put them in the second round over the Atlanta Hawks. He's one of those long, rangy defenders that also plays in space and also does a lot of things. But with that being said, you have to look at Paul George as a up-and-coming superstar. He made the playoffs, which was not a surprise to me, because you have to look at the Eastern Conference. They had a lot of good guys on the Eastern Conference that could have made it, but he deserved to make that All-Star team. And rounding out some of the people that I didn't name on this list, Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant, for the simple fact, Kobe Bryant is one of the greatest NBA players that we've seen of all time. You could slide him in as a 10 or a 9A, but on this list, he would probably be the last one on this list only because of his injury. Kobe Bryant healthy would be in a 3, 4, or 5 range, because Kobe Bryant, on offense, you just can't stop Kobe. No matter how many times you see him do the spinning kick when he shoots or drive through the lane, you can't stop Kobe. Kobe is one of those guys that he may be losing it a little bit on defense, but on the offensive end, he really steps his game up and he really does what he has to do to carry his team. We saw him will the Lakers to the playoffs. Him, Pau Gasol, and Dwight Howard all together without a healthy roster, really. He really stepped his game up and did a lot of good things for the Lakers. And even though he is injured, I still see him as a superstar, but on the decline. Also, D Rose, as I stated before, the injury thing scared me a lot. Russell Westbrook, again, the injury thing scares me a lot. I really like Russell Westbrook, the player, but I don't know how he's going to come back from that knee injury. Knees and legs are some of the worst injuries an NBA player can have. They can lead to potential early career loss. So this is potentially my top 10 list of the NBA players right now today in the NBA. You can check me out at justmypicks.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at justmypicks.tv. You can also check me out on YouTube, YouTube /justmypicks.tv. Thank you very much for subscribing, and please comment.